Welcome back. In this lecture, we'll cover financial instruments. Over here, we are going to cover three types of financial instruments. These are equity securities, debt securities, and finally, derivative securities. Let's look at the equity securities first. The most common type of equity security is ordinary share or common stock, which is issued by a publicly listed corporation. Ordinary share or common stock represents ownership or the general ownership to the business, and these common stockholders are entitled to receive dividend if it is declared by the board of directors, or they also receive capital gain if their share price increases. Then there is also a hybrid type of security which is known as preferred stock. Preferred stock is a hybrid security because it resembles both the characteristics of common stock and preferred stock. For example, the preferred stockholder is entitled to receive fixed dividend, which is very similar to a fixed interest payment of a debt security. In the meantime, preferred stock also represents ownership. So, preferred stock is a hybrid type of securities. The fixed dividend of preferred stock must be paid before any dividend is made to the ordinary share. And this is why preferred stocks are also known as preference share. Now let's look at debt securities. In general, debt represents liabilities. So the most common or basic characteristic of debt is that the debt must be repaid by the issuer. So the debt holder or the investors of debt securities are entitled to receive cash flows specified in the debt instruments. For example, debt holders or the investor of debt securities are entitled to receive periodic interest payments and principal payment at maturity. Finally, we'll look at derivative securities. A derivative contract is designed to facilitate the management of risks. For example, to minimize interest rate risks or to minimize exchange rate risks, derivative contract can be used. We'll learn more about derivative securities in week 9 or week 10. There are different types of derivative products like futures, forwards, options, and swaps. Now let's look at the basic characteristics of derivative securities. First of all, derivative contracts are contracts whose value is derived from the value of their underlying securities. These securities are used for both hedging, that means risk reduction, and speculation, that means for investors who usually like risks, they also use derivatives, that means the risks, that means risk seeking. Speculation means risk seeking. That's all about this lecture. In our next lecture, we'll cover financial markets.